Hi, True Crime Grapevine fans. It's me, Patti Lee. It's Labor Day weekend, September 2nd, Saturday night. I hope you're doing well. I hope your Labor Day weekend was great. This will probably come up for you after the weekend is over or on actual Labor Day. So, regardless, I hope you're doing great. We are in our 27th episode. This is True Crime Grapevine. We are covering all the crime grapevine news that everybody's talking about. And this week it's between August 24th or 5th and about September 2nd, which is tonight. All right, so we're up to our second to last court case. This is the Murdaugh case. The Murdaugh case is Alec Murdaugh in South Cackalack. And what crimes? All the crimes. All the crimes, all the times. Welcome to the Low Country. Okay, so it was like, have you ever seen somebody when they pick a thread on something and it just starts to unravel the whole thing? That was the Murdaugh case. You must go to one of my main screen sources, which is Mandy Matney, who does the Murdaugh Murder podcast. She is getting married soon. Congratulations, Mandy. Enjoy your day. Don't forget to just enjoy. Don't stress. Just relax once everything's planned, because you can't change things. And just remember to look around and enjoy. All right, that's my little message to Mandy. Please go look at her podcast. Start from the very beginning. She tells the whole story perfectly. And I think now she is working with Eric Allen, who is a fabulous, I would die for his cinematography and editing. He was doing some of his own stuff, but now he's going to be working with Mandy Matney on the Murdaugh Murders podcast. It's gonna be just like now. It's going to be not only informative and amazing to listen to Mandy, but also it's going to be like visual cinematography. You're going to love it. So, what can I tell you that has happened? So, last Monday on the 29th, there was a hearing, and everybody's like, oh my God. Now, I watched it, and I think if you watch enough court stuff, maybe you get jaded, but I don't think it was that explosive. I mean, the defense and the prosecution sort of went at each other, but it's the South. They were kind of like polite, but Dick Harpootlian, he's also a state senator, not a senator for the United States from South Cackalack, but a representative of the state Senate, and he's a lawyer. So, so he's a good old boy. Again, people holding multiple roles. You would think if you were a state senator, maybe you wouldn't have time, but no, he's represented the Murdaugh family in all of their troubles. He represented Paul during the boat accident while Paul was alive. Now Paul is unalived, and now he is representing Alec in all his troubles. So, Dick Harpootlian, though, for all his good old boy, he does have Southern gentleman-like, and he and the prosecution, which is Creighton Waters, they had words. And they weren't too loud, and Harpootlian was very specific in not targeting Creighton himself. But he did say, I don't trust his team. I don't trust his office. I think they're going to leak. So what was he talking about? So he is concerned, number one, Dick Harpootlian wanted the discovery. If you watch Scott Reich on the True Crime, on Crime Talk, he talks about not only saying lawyer, lawyer, lawyer right away and not talking to police before you see your lawyer, but he always mentions that, look at me, now I was thinking about lawyer, 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 and I got off track. You want to say, if you're up for a crime, especially like murder, you want to have your speedy trial. Because you don't want to give the people against you more time to get their ducks in a row, right? You're like, no, it's go time. Show your hand. So what people don't understand is, like, why does it take so long to indict somebody? Here's why. The more messy, too, the longer it takes. Because once you indict one person, you have to show them what you have, which means you have to give them discovery. What you, the state, the prosecutors have discovered about their crime. Well, if there's other people involved and you give them the discovery, now you've just allowed them to see, oh, and then they can pass it on to their co-conspirators or other people and go, okay, here's what they know. All right, they know this, they know that, but they don't know this, and we can get rid of that, and they do know about this, so don't say anything. And so people who aren't indicted yet could be tipped off, they could leave, they could get their story straight, they could destroy evidence. So that is why in criminal enterprise, the prosecution goes for the lower people first, and they start turning them against the higher people. We saw that in the Housewives of Salt Lake, where there was a fraud case. And they finally, once they get to the top, if they turn everybody else and you're left at the top, you're going down because everybody else has been turned against you, and they have a plea agreement. So in the Murdaugh case, so they're not only bringing all these huge financial crimes, which they do have him on, it seems like, but they're bringing these murder charges, which are a little more tenuous, and they're not quite locked down, and they're still looking for evidence, which we'll talk about in a second. So Dick Harpootlian, following all good defense lawyers' handbook, he must have been watching Scott Reich. He's like, yeah, discovery now. You indicted? It's time to show your hand. It's like poker. Show me what you got. You can't withhold that because you've indicted the person. They're in jail for this crime. What you got? You must, that's part of our constitutional right. So there's a little bit of a problem because Creighton Waters what they were talking about on Monday was, okay, but like all these phone logs, basically he didn't want to give him all these people that they can go intimidate. He didn't want to give them everybody's phone information that they had, these phone dumps, because they had everybody's phone number in it. He didn't want to give Alec, who is known to have a network of people working for him to intimidate witnesses, he didn't want to give him all the witnesses' names and statements. But that's the problem. Once you indict, it is go time. And he's like, yeah, but they can't show it to anybody else. And so before they gave them discovery, the prosecution, Creighton Waters was trying to get an agreement with Harpootlian and having the judge broker this deal of like what you can and cannot show and show to others and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, Murdaugh wants his discovery, which you need, because you need to know part of our constitutional right is to face our accusers, and the discovery is who is accusing you, like who said what, and then the defense can send out investigators and also then talk about who said what. So the problem becomes when you have a very influential family who has been known, perhaps allegedly in the past, to maybe suppress witnesses or buy witnesses off or get people to say what they want. As I was saying before about like the whole, you don't want to tip people off, and you also don't want to give anybody any information that can help them influence the witnesses that the prosecution does have. So it becomes very strategic. Anyways, so it appears as if Mr. Waters was trying to, Mr. Creighton Waters was trying to, the prosecution was trying to, keep as much possible, and especially not share it with anybody else besides just the lawyers. And then Dick Harpootlian, the defense attorney / state senator, was trying to also, so Alec is a lawyer, and everybody, regardless of their profession, is supposed to be able to help aid in their defense. And it came out that Alec is only allowed to look at the evidence with his lawyer, like once for an hour a week or twice for an hour a week, which isn't very, like it was something that even I thought like, oh my God, that's not enough time to sift through all this evidence, especially if you want a speedy trial. In fact, it's sort of a way to like, oh, you want a speedy trial? We'll make sure you don't get the evidence. So again, there's games both sides can play, and that's what the fireworks were about. And kind of accusing each other of doing those things, but in a southern sort of barely concealed, contemptuous way. And not personally offensive, but really offensive. So anyway, and I can see, but obviously you need to defense, you need to start looking at things. But yes, the Murdaughs and everybody in the good old boy network is known to take information and like, okay, now we know who we need to buy off, change their story, and maybe this will help out our other friends. So allegedly, right? Allegedly, that could possibly happen, just my opinion, and don't sue me. The other thing that I just read about was that SLED has been seen near Murdaugh land out in the low country. Okay, so let me see exactly where this is. So they're looking, this was reported, so I read the report by Will Folks, who is at Fitz News. Part of the story, the Murdaugh story, is also that Mandy Matney and Liz Farrell have left Fitz News. I don't know why. It doesn't seem like they're saying anything nasty about Fitz News, and Fitz News isn't talking nasty about them, but they have parted ways. So Will Folks reported this himself, and he did give credit. He also got this from a first report by, I wrote it down, by the Hampton County Guardian reporter Michael DeWitt first reported this. So near Almody, South Carolina, searching along the river is the Coosawhatchie River, Coosawhatchie. So apparently there was the Coosawhatchie tribe, and I like that Will Fox names he gives a little background that the river was named by or for the tribe Coosawhatchie, and Hatchie was the Native American Coosawhatchie word for river. So the Coosawhatchie River. So the Coosawhatchie, SLED was looking in there for evidence related to the Moselle murders that occurred on June 7th in 2021. They had about 16 to 18 vehicles parked along the road around this bridge that was this concrete bridge that was crossing over the Coosawhatchie River. Coosawhatchie. I'm sure I'm supposed to say it just a little bit different, but I am not from the Low Country. What is interesting is that they were searching along the river beneath this concrete bridge, right, that crossed over Highway 278, which is also known as Gray's Highway. I don't know if it's the Gray, like a man or family named Gray, or if it's like Confederate Gray, but Highway 278 near Almody, Amadea, South Carolina. Now, they were using metal detectors and boats and divers in the water, and also searching the wooded area surrounding the bridge. Now, they were looking for a potential recovery, I guess, of the weapons used in the double homicide. They did not find anything as far as we know. What was interesting to me was that it was near property, they said a stone's throw from a Varnell, South Carolina property of the great-grandfather, Randolph Murdaugh, the first buster, I believe. And it was 2.5 miles away from the home where Randolph Murdaugh passed away, which was where was the alibi for Alec the night of the murders. And also was really close to John Martin, Alec's brother, which was interesting because they said it was less than a mile from the 4 massive tracts of land owned by John Martin, Murdaugh's brother, and also he was accompanying the SLED agents, which he also accompanied them in other. So what? Why is the brother of the accused allowed? And he's, I think John Martin's a lawyer too, right? Isn't he also one of the lawyers? I'm getting confused between all the Murdaughs. But he is Alec's brother. So it's interesting, right? Interesting that he was supervising and they didn't find anything. Okay, I don't know. It just seems like they would be trying to have like absolutely clean propriety, that they wouldn't be doing stuff like this. I don't know. Mandy Mantney is right when she talks about the Good Old Boy Network. Why is he allowed to be with SLED, the South Carolina, investigators? Seems odd. You wouldn't want the brother of the accused looking over your shoulder, right? Might seem weird. Okay, so to end up the other part of the Murdaugh tale, we did get a ruling at that court that the judge said, yes, you can have, obviously, you can have the discovery, and we will protect all this evidence by a temporary protection order. Like, you can't share it with anybody but just the lawyers, just Alec. Now, you can talk to witnesses, but, like, basically, you're not allowed to tell other people outside this legal process, and you're not involved, and you're not allowed to go blabbing to the press. So, I thought they had a gag order against talking outside of court, but maybe this was, I'm very confused. It seemed like for different reasons both sides were worried about this evidence, and the judge is just saying, like, this evidentiary stuff you're not allowed to talk about outside of court. Just don't share, don't talk, do your business. So hopefully that works. I mean, obviously the prosecution's worried about, now we gave them all the information, can they go get people to change their story? Can they buy off people? Can people walk into the road when they're on their way to a bar in Florida? I don't know. Like in other past, problems. We shall see. So that is the Murdaugh case. And I have one more case. And that will be the end. So like and subscribe.